There's one story that has haunted me over the last few years. It's a story of a young man called David, 10 years old, in Rwanda during the genocide and the civil war. And in the Rwanda Children's Museum, you can see the biography of this young man who died all too young. It says David, age 10. It says favorite sport, football. Favorite pastime, making people laugh. Ambition, to be a doctor. Method of death, torture. Last words, the United Nations are coming to help us. And the United Nations never did. It is to our internal shame that we failed to help every one of those people who suffered a cruel death in Rwanda in the 1990s. I've travelled around Africa and I've met large numbers of people. I've met young men who want to go to school who can't. I've met mothers who have to be prostitutes to get the money to pay for the drugs for the children. I've met a girl who had AIDS and was an AIDS orphan herself, suffering from tuberculosis, who even at the age of 12 had lost all hope in our eyes. And it's our duty to do far more to help. It was Bono who said, if we can put a man on the moon, we can put humanity back on Earth. And that's what we've got to do over the next few years. 75 million children don't go to school. We must have free education for every child in every developing country. And the intention of the One campaign is to make sure that every child has a chance of education, training new teachers, building new schools, making sure that parents are in a position to send their children to school. 1 in 8 mothers die in childbirth in a country like Sierra Leone. That means there's 500,000 maternal deaths every year. So the moment of greatest hope and greatest optimism and greatest celebration turns for so many families into a moment of tragedy. It's not expensive to deal with the problems of maternal mortality, and that's why we are committed not only to helping mothers and infant children avoid infant mortality, but we're also committed to free healthcare systems across the developing world. I want us also to take seriously the commitments we made in our Millennium Development Goals to providing the aid that is necessary for the future. I'm proud that we as a Labour government have doubled overseas aid to 0.52% on the road to 0.7% by 2013. I want to make it absolutely clear that our commitment on overseas aid will remain, and that's why we've enshrined it in legislation that has been passed by the House of Commons. We have a duty to the rest of the world. That's why we're discussing a global financial levy on financial institutions and banks. That's why we're discussing how we can move forward and reconcile the demands of climate change and the demands of tackling poverty. We have a view of the world where everyone is a citizen. We are all global neighbours. We are all our brothers and sisters keepers. And that's what our development policy will always be about.